Here we go.
Okay. I'll be good.
Johnny. Hey, team, how we going? We're having one last attempt because the Vietnam veterans deserve a little bit more tenacity from Kaz to get the message out. Welcome home. 50 years later after Long Tan. Okay, 1962 to 1972 Australian involvement by 61,000 plus. Add. For those who got kids at home, homeschooling with, what are they called, Lauren?
What's that?
What's those
Homeschooling.
toys they've got? It doesn't matter.
I don't,
And
I'm
we
not.
lost 521 soldiers.
Oh yeah, I'm not firing on all six.
That's
Sorry.
okay. Lauren's here. She's as sick as anyone that was on the
I am-
cursed fleet from the UK.
I'm not that sick.
She's that sick, team. She was talking about Brussels sprout milkshakes.
No, yeah, it's good. You won't even taste it. Put a bit of pineapple in. You won't even taste it. It'll be delicious.
I might as well just eat some gunpowder and smoke. Okay, Nicole King of Queens. Let's see how this goes, mate. This is our last attempt, but it's worth it for the veterans. My father, as I stated, is a Vietnam veteran. I've thanked him tonight. Maxie Wales fell in Long Tan. He went to school with my mother and father. They got a bad case of the left when they came home, and they've never let go of the disrespect they received. And for that, we have to remember the 521 that fell, but more importantly, the rest of the 61,000 that served and their families that loved them once they were deployed and came home. They need to know that they matter now.
Yeah, indeed they do. Indeed they do. Don't need to repeat history.
We don't. But this is what tonight's about. Okay, Mr. Kanan Pepper's looking as sick as the First Fleet there himself.
Yeah, because they think you mean an actual Brussels sprout milkshake. Let me just clarify. It's like a smoothie. It's like juice. Okay, it's not. It's not a milkshake. It's not Brussels sprouts in milk with pineapple. Okay, it's just a smoothie, like a juice.
Hey, there goes Peter Mayfield. My grandfather was a hand-to-hand combat instructor in the army during Vietnam. Well done, mate.
There you go.
I was one for intelligence corps, before they went to Afghan. I didn't teach them enough that they could beat me in a bar fight. You never teach everything you know.
Oh, that would be foolish.
Yeah. Look at these proud men in black and white over here, and then what they look like when they came home.
It's a great picture,
We put this together for you because we know to some, especially Mr. P,
Yep.
that people remember what you don't say,
Yep.
not just what you say.
Exactly. And I'm a lover of fonts. I love what you've done there with the writing. Also, it's beautiful. The whole.
You're more artistic than me. Can you explain why we've got the welcome is behind me, and then we've got the home here with we remember. What is it about that you like, Lauren?
I like it all because we remember how they were treated, and we made a promise we'd never forget, and that doesn't just extend to we'll never forget that those people who died. We'll never forget what you did. We'll never forget how you were treated. We will never repeat the same mistakes.
That's right. Hey, do you have any classified karate moves? No, but I do know a lot of kung flu.
Kung Fu.
Cane and peppers. Mate, you know what? If you need to know unarmed combat in the army, the bad guys got too damn close. Same deal with the pistol. We're going to bring up a conversation with you soon too about weapons. Should Australia be allowed to have the right to bear arms? That's going to be one that puts the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. But I haven't had a cat in my house for a while.
It's an interesting conversation, and I've got to tell you, I'm still not decided about it.
You will be after I talk about it because I've done a bit of research.
Yeah, I think I actually have started to change my mind about it a little bit. As you educate yourself more. But I don't ever want us to become America. I don't want us to become like that.
And look, the one thing I will say, and this is very fitting for the Vietnam era, okay, the pop culture, etc., that the USA and Australia has very little in common, other than our desires for certain things that we cherish and love. Okay, and our patriotism, etc., is even done in a different manner. We're not the same. Our cultures are completely different.
We are totally different.
So is our common sense.
Our senses of humour are different.
Absolutely.
Different. So, we love them, but we are very, very different indeed.
They are. And they're going to need some good friends soon, and we are one of those friends.
We are. We are like their besties at the moment.
Yep. Kate and Peppers, you're going to love this this conversation we have on this topic. For those that don't know, g'day, lovely Daz. For those that don't know, we're having a real hard time with YouTube. I'm not sure whether it's the things we do and say, or whether it's the fact that everyone's locked down using exactly the same time, either for solo romance or for streaming, etc. You can use that topic if you want. The joke I tried to say before was, why do bald men have holes in their underpants and shorts? So they can still run their fingers through their hair.
Oh, good grief.
Robert, we'll call you Bob for now. Are the procedures that are taught to soldiers if they ever had to find themselves in a situation where they'd been stranded or captured? You can't afford to teach it. If you try to fight back when you're captured, dude, then you give up all the rights of a prisoner and they're allowed to do whatever they want to you. Be aware of that. That's if you're against someone that has rules in the first place.
You do like tricky training, like the escape and evasion and all that, don't you?
Nah, pilots do. Pilots do. We don't. We do combatives, and that is using multiple people to defeat an enemy using absolute cruelty, terminal cruelty, to get that done. I won't go too far into that. I used to have videos on that. That was all lost when my previous channel got hacked. For those that are just coming in now, I will get rid of the streams before this that were buffering all the way through them so that I don't accidentally...
Yeah, fair enough. Too.
Yeah. Guys and gals, so the data we came out before, 61,000 people served in Greens, in Vietnam, 61,000 men.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Football field or something.
But every one of them was a volunteer, and we lost 521.
Yep.
And we lost a lot more after they got home.
Yep.
Now, you know what I'm talking about there, and we can't even use those words because even that, when you talk about awareness, what happens when you try to bring the subject up?
Yep.
Your stream will disappear.
Doesn't matter how small your stream is, even mine suffers if I say the S word. We just call it the S word over there.
Yeah. Do pilots go to SEER school? I'm not sure what that means, mate, but I do know that that our pilots go through escape and evasion because normally they are landing in contested territory by their lonesome with nothing to really survive. And the last thing they need is a weapon that gives an excuse for an adversary to say, get him, take him down. I felt like I was threatened.
There's something there. They say, I'm proud my dad served in Nam. I lost him 24 years ago. Returned vets should never, ever be treated as they were, lest we forget. And you're exactly right. No, and I'm sorry.
We just ran out of, what do you call it? Out of charge here. Sorry, Lauren. Didn't mean to cut you off. But what Lauren was saying is we should never forget those that served. And I'll extend to that and say you can never blame the soldiers other than what they did in uniform overseas because they didn't ask to go. They volunteered. They put a signature down in advance to be able to do and trust what our governments send us to after they have broken down negotiations with a threat, different country, or called on to save those that scream in the night. Yep. So you can't blame the sheepdog. You can blame him if he does something untoward, to innocents, etc. But it's funny, the people that tell us how we're allowed to engage are the ones that will never put himself in danger. And as we're seeing, when a politician is in danger, they leave their own people behind, get in planes and get the hell out of Dodge while taking government money with them. Yep. And that man has just been rejected from the country of asylum he was going to and now wants to go to the USA. Ryan Ward, how you going, mate? Hey, Kaz, bumped into John Toomey today. Now, there's a blast from the past. John Toomey. He joined the battalion, the second 4th Battalion, 2nd Battalion, then 2nd 4th Battalion, then 2nd Battalion. When the guys were coming home from Vietnam, he never got to go himself, the poor bugger. And that probably would have been a very hard time for those that joined the battalions. First up, when the battalions were full of regular veterans from that conflict. The conflict went from 62 to 72 for the Australian involvement. The French had been there, the US had been there, and the Kiwis, of course, our Anzac brothers, and so many others. Yusuf, good to have you here, mate. Kaz, I just finished 1 year in Egyptian military. I wonder if you were in the same time I was there. I want to join a foreign army. I can't choose between Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore. Or, there's only one you should join, and that's probably Australian, mate. What do you recommend to meet? Yep, straight up, Australian. When it comes to how much you get paid, the customs and traditions, also the way you get looked after, definitely Australia, straight up, mate. And I'm sure the people in Singapore and New Zealand would say the same to you. Blame governments. Yep, you don't have to like your government to love your country. Remember that one. We'll also like to extend this and say to those, in Vietnam, not that they were fans of the Red Corn Chip, although they were handling their business, but to those that lost their lives, remember they didn't have mobile phones back then. Most of them didn't have a TV, and when they were, it was absolutely non-objective. There was only one, message that was coming through the pipe. Cane and Peppers, did you see the 600 that forced their way on in a plane, leaving with them? Yeah, I don't know what happened with that one, Cane and Peppers, because no one would have got to have left that place unless they'd been screened. I never saw any screening. I saw people trying to get onto planes. I saw some people falling off planes. I never saw a COVID mask amongst any of them. There's a lot of questions to ask about that because there's a lot of vetting that needs to happen. Hopefully they went from there to another location, got processed, maybe some even sent back. You do get looked after. In Australia, you do, mate. You do. Desert Wolf. G'day, buddy. How you going? Cool name. My mate looks like a fat kangaroo. No worries yourself, Yusuf. No worries, Yusuf. Okay, gotcha. So, guys and gals, Vietnam. Well, it happened in the pop culture of Australia. It happened when there was a whole bunch of different evolutionary things happening within those cultures, etc., that caused rifts, and meant that we weren't on our best behaviour, to those that came home. And I know that it mattered because you're still here on Anzac Day now. Some of our Vietnam veteran brothers, still have not got over the anger of what they feel for the way they were treated when they came home. And I get that. Kaz, I just finished. Okay, yep, I saw that, mate. Australia, yep. Yeah, I answered your question, Yusuf. Yep. I had an ARE card in 2008. I was in the Sinai Peninsula over there. It's a bloody busy place. You got some shifty bastards too in Egypt, I tell you. They scammed me out of a lot of money. Well said, Lauren. You just like the conflict. It never okay to throw hate on the soldiers. That's right, mate. I like to think that we help a lot more people than we hurt. Yeah. Okay, let's just finish my online aptitude test and I'm waiting for a call from a defence recruiter and can't wait to follow in the footsteps of those who have come before me. And that's the way you should look at it. Every man should always say to themselves, every woman if you want, but normally those that achieve like that, and normally from the male side of the gender, is you should always look at achieving more than what your father did before you. And if we keep that up, then like a stock market, that keeps that 45-degree angle or at least an incline happening, and it passes on not to make tomorrow about yourself, make it about your family name. And if every single person did that, that would mean there's a code of conduct, even for those that are not religious, that allows them to answer the scream in the night, that allows them to pick up that paper that is blowing down the street, that tells them how to help someone take the time to make the place a better place And then you almost wouldn't need a police force, would you? But not everyone can obey the rules. Worst part to me was that even now some people still treat the Vietnam veterans with disrespect. I haven't seen that, but this is why we did this tonight, is so that if they got on there and said, hey, did anyone remember us today? Well, yes, we have, and here we are. There was a address to the nation today. Naturally, because of what's happening with the lockdowns, they were unable to do the parades, etc., that they normally would have done, okay, especially at ACT Canberra. But they did do a fairly polished announcement, okay, for all of those that fell, the 521 that fell in their families, people like Maxie Wales, God bless his soul, and to those that have come home hoping that they were remembered. So to all of those that did fall, 521, plus our Kiwis, US, Vietnamese, etc., I'd like to say they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. And at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. And we're better, lest we forget. Okay. Guys and girls, it is so important that you take the time to remember and make it not about yourself, but about those who don't come back. How do we treat people on Remembrance Day? How do we look at the occasions on Anzac Day? You don't need any more days really than that. Okay, because by doing that, you give a focal point where if you see as someone who wants to join the military and your parents are not sure if this was for you, but they see the respect that is given by the country to those that stand up to serve so that other people's children do not have to take on the wolf abroad rather than let him in, then take care of him at home. It's too late. Okay, that is how people know that they are taken seriously and think, maybe I should join up. Look at the cult of celebrity, of the real, I don't like to use the word heroes, but look at the people that we should be idolising. Those that step into the storm without asking how cold is the rain. I just made that up. Sounds pretty good. You can like that. You can use that if you want. Nothing's quarantined. Nothing is, what would you call it? Not classified. Nothing is, anything I say or make up, you can use and say it's yours. I've got no problem with that. Daz, lest we forget. Right on. My mate looks like a fat kangaroo. I keep thinking that's the start of a sentence. Lest we forget. Leo Wanker, stuntman for life. Strike WA Kaz, I know off topic, but I was successful. Got my enlistment date on the 25th of October, and I can't wait. Granddad also served in Bin Ba, that's Vietnam team, 69, and also a tunnel rat. Thank you for the channel. No, thank you for spending your time striking, watching, and all the best. Make sure you get the stories. You know, when people say that my grandfather doesn't like to talk about it, yeah, he does. He just needs to understand that you're listening before he starts to talk. Because I guarantee, if I talk to your loved one as a veteran to another veteran, I won't be able to shut him up. Guaranteed. You know, Carl, you know, very, very respectful man. You know, his family, he knows about this sort of stuff. Robbie, Nicole King, I honestly think it's burning feeling in your heart from a young age, want to serve our country. It is, and it won't make sense to most others. Absolutely, King of Queens. Tunnel rats were the bravest and craziest for sure. Craziest, I'd say yes. They're also narrow in the shoulder and narrow in the waist. Anyone that will go into that sort of danger with no safety net, you can have that job, engineers. A mechanic. Howdy, team. Been a while since I caught the last stream. I hope everyone's well. Good topic tonight, lest we forget. Mechanic, we just couldn't let it go, because if we did, that might feel like that we didn't, lest we forget. Yep. We're living in a different world now. I don't blame the young for the folly that sometimes we hear, because at the end of the day, they are inundated with messages from so many directions. You know, not one direction. Lauren's favourite band and JP's dance clip go to. Rural Hunter. Hey, Kaz, what's the best way to get across to the bat phone? All you got to do is get on Patreon, mate, and straight up, it's there. And then you can choose whether you want to do a what do you call it? If you don't get enough of me face on here, we can do a Zoom call. Okay, or we can do a phone call if you got your father's looks like I have. I shouldn't say that. My dad's a good-looking chap. George Smith, thanks to all the veterans who served in the war. Deserve the most respect from anyone. I totally agree. Joshy, Rural Hunter, it's Patreon, bro. Can we just get that up there, please, Lauren, if you're there? Yes, she is here. Damon Gibson, hi all. Have an OSB coming up. ADF, ADFA, RAF pilot. Any tips? You're smarter than me already, mate. I should be asking you for tips. Thanks. Do I need to be a New Zealand citizen to be a New Zealand commando? I don't know if they have. I don't think they have commandos, mate. I think they've got SASR. And if you're going to be one, yes, you do have to be a New Zealand citizen. But it's worth it because New Zealand is an absolutely gorgeous country if they are not in the wrong hands of politicians at the moment. Strike W. What do you think that the people that served for us stopped the spread of communism back in the 70s? Yeah? Yep, that's what it was to do. We're in a very similar fight now, aren't we? Brady, please pass on our heartfelt thanks to your father for his service from the Ramey brothers. Brady Carr's right on. For those that haven't heard me say it, you know, I say infantry is the best job in the world, but I know that Ramey are the best blokes. You've got to be a good bloke to be in Ramey. Rural Hunter. Oh, Kaz, I only ended up with 2 charges over Little Bo Peep going under my ute, down from 7 to 2, and hopefully they'll get thrown out by the law of common sense as well. Robbie, my family that have served in the Fijian Army. They are lovely people. Yeah, I'd be the first to join the Australian Army if and when I'm enlisted. Robbie, all the best, mate. All the best. I've worked with Fijians a lot, and I've got a lot of respect for them. And you better, because they've got a lot of corporate power, especially when they're on the carver. Georgie Smith, hey Kaz, I'm 16 and thinking of joking army. Get hold of your spelling, mate. Joking army officer as a physio doctor or infantry officer. How different is training for that compared to each other? Well, mate, you don't get to choose what corps you're going to go to if you're going to be an officer. The leader of men, the mantle, the burden of command. You don't get to choose, mate. You go to ADFA and then they decide where you're going to go to based on your skill sets, your decisive capabilities. So let's get that through all your heads, team. If you want to be a leader, if you are or you're not, you know, the main tenet for leadership is actual leadership. Okay, that is you do not get to choose the corps you want. It will choose you. Rural, that's okay. Your name is different on Patreon. That's fine, man. You just drop us a text. Let us know what you need. We get through to you. Lauren, Yusuf, Kaz, what do you think about joining Singapore Commandos or overseas citizen? Look, I don't know. I know nothing about them. I've never been with them, mate. Yep. But Singapore's a lovely country. I'm sure their service is fine. Lightfoot, if you want to do it and you feel like you've got a calling to do it, do it. Because otherwise you'll have nothing but regrets forever, wondering how you would have gone. Yep. Government, friends, religious people all have people that wills us. That wills? Okay. Joshy, a leader knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. Leaders very rarely will say they're leaders. They normally get that mantle and get told they are that, and people follow them despite the fact they have no rank on their shoulder, despite the fact that they didn't say, follow me. People follow the actions of those that can do, those who are successful, those with professional, what would you call it, results wrapped in confidence. Most really upset to see our lefties at my school online saying how we didn't accomplish anything. Okay. Right, Strike. If that upsets you, what you need to do, what you all need to do is share the video I did last night on how to think about the Afghanistan situation. And you can't blame people if they're a little bit ignorant. If they're a little bit ignorant, you say, watch this, listen to this. It's an Australian veteran. And if you have a problem with me, because it might be you they don't like to talk to, they can always jump in the comments, and they can have a conversation with me, and you might make them a believer by giving them a source that potentially does a better job of explaining than what you can. Because remember, there's people that I can talk to and all I find is deaf ears because I don't have the credibility within the friendship I have with them to be able to sell a conversation. I don't try to win a conversation, but I am very passionate about what I say, and I don't mean necessarily emotionally. It's just I spend a lot of time immersing myself in subjects that gives a certain level of deeper expertise to speak about when you add that to 50 years of living on this planet, on operational environments away from air conditioning in third world countries, around the smells, tastes and sights that most people will never see during this life. Dave D, should be whole army go back to roles being allocated at the end of recruit training. Dave D, I am also a fan of that. I am a fan of that. Because then there can be people that are at the school of the Australian soldier being Kapooka, where at the end of that training they go, you will not cut it in that role. And to protect you, I'm going to put you over there. Yep. And it also means that people have to be on their best behaviour the entire time they're at training, because otherwise those that instruct you, guide you, allocate you could be going, yes, let's send him to MPs. Veterans Adventures Australia. Keep up the good work, mate. Thank you very much, sir. It takes a lot of people spreading a similar message so that it doesn't feel like we're inundating or asking anything of return. We don't deserve anything other than a seat at the table. That's all we deserve. We don't say we're better than you. We just speak in a way that isn't always understood or can sometimes feel like it's condescending because we're used to talking in a communication way, that we say things with the least amount of words for the maximum amount of intent. Sorry I've been MIA, but it's good to have a medic back. Brady Carr says, who was that asking if any soldiers were... Who was that? Is that someone here or somewhere else? Pajama Lama, Singapore man. On my Borneo defence, I knew the MPs that the guys delivered me food on my ships. Awesome. Guys and gals, let's get out of here. Tonight was a quick one. It was a quick one to say. We're buffering already. Tonight was all about saying welcome home. Okay, to the Vietnam veterans, the 61,000 who served from 62 to 72, to the 521 that lost their lives, to the 50th anniversary of Long Tan. To you guys, I'll say it one more time. They shall grow not old, as we the left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. And at the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, and tonight we did, lest we forget. And welcome home. Mucho